Welcome to The Explainer. We're here to take fascinating, complex stories and turn them into clear, engaging presentations.
Okay, so let's just jump right into this, because it's a question that sounds completely backward, right? How on earth did Nintendo manage to take over the gaming world? By making a console that was, on paper, way weaker than its competition. It's a story that just flips the whole idea of innovation on its head. It's about winning by, well, not even playing the same game.
All right, first up, trapped in a red ocean. And to really get what Nintendo pulled off, you've got to understand just how bad things were for them back in 2002. We're talking total disaster territory.
So yeah, by 2002, Nintendo was caught in what you'd call a strategic death spiral. I mean, the gaming world back then, it was an absolute war zone. You had Sony's PlayStation 2 just dominating everything, and then Microsoft storms in with a super powerful Xbox. And Nintendo, their new console, the GameCube, wasn't just losing, it was getting completely and utterly crushed. But here's the crazy part. If you look at the specs, the GameCube wasn't even a weak console. I mean, check this out. Its processor was actually way faster than the PS2, which was the king of the market. So the hardware? The hardware was totally fine. The problem wasn't the power. It was something else entirely.
So the failure wasn't technical, it was all about strategy. Or, well, a lack of it. Think about it. They used these tiny little mini-discs that developers hated because they couldn't fit their big, expansive games on them. And the PS2, it could play DVDs. So for families, it was a no-brainer. You get a game console and a DVD player in one. And then there's the console itself. This little purple box with a handle, it just screamed toy, reinforcing this idea that Nintendo was just for kids and refused to grow up.
And here's what that all added up to. Just look at this. By mid-2003, Sony had over 60% of the market. Nintendo, a tiny 13%. They were completely stuck in what business experts call a red ocean. And it's a perfect name for it, right? Imagine a patch of ocean just full of sharks, all viciously fighting over the exact same fish. That was Nintendo, bleeding out, trying to compete in a battle they just couldn't win.
Okay, section 2, a gamer takes charge. So right when it seemed like it was game over for Nintendo, something huge happened. A change in leadership that would set the stage for, and I'm not exaggerating, one of the greatest comebacks in business history. And this is the man who made it happen, Satoru Iwata. In 2002, he became president, and this was a huge deal. He was the first person to lead the company who wasn't from the founding family. And he was a programmer, a super programmer, they called him. This quote says it all, really. He wasn't just a suit. He saw the world from a player's perspective, and that was about to change absolutely everything. So Iwata looks at the industry and sees something everyone else is missing. He realizes this endless power war, this obsession with better graphics, faster processors, it was a dead end. It was making games ridiculously expensive to make, and it was pushing away anyone who wasn't a die-hard hardcore gamer. It was basically a race to see who could go broke first. Which brings us to section 3, the blue ocean strategy. See, Iwata's big idea wasn't to fight Sony and Microsoft head-on. No, his plan was to make them totally irrelevant. So you remember that red ocean full of sharks? Iwata's strategy was to just leave it, sail away to a completely different part of the sea, a blue ocean, where there was no competition. And who was there? Well, pretty much everyone else. Families, grandparents, people who had never, ever picked up a controller in their lives. That was the new target. And the how behind this was a philosophy that is just genius. It's called Lateral Thinking with Withered Technology, from the guy who designed the Game Boy. Withered just means old, mature, cheap tech. The idea is, don't waste money on the newest, fanciest, most expensive parts. Take simple, well-understood tech that's cheap to produce, and then use it in a brand new, totally radical way to create fun. It's innovation through creativity, not brute force. And all of this leads us to section 4. Winning without a fight. This whole new way of thinking led straight to the Nintendo Wii, a little white box that would ignore every rule in the book and go on to become a worldwide sensation. And they did it using the simple 4-step framework. First, what did they eliminate? All the stuff that scared people off. So bye-bye high-end graphics and those controllers with a million buttons. Next, what did they reduce? Manufacturing costs, technical complexity, anything that wasn't essential for fun. Then, what did they raise? Accessibility, the idea that anyone at any age could play. And finally, what did they create? Something brand new. That simple, intuitive motion controller
The Wii Remote. Now, this is where this strategy really pays off. Look at these numbers. They are just wild. When the PlayStation 3 launched, Sony was losing more than $300 on every single console they sold. Microsoft was losing over 100. But Nintendo, thanks to that Withered Technology idea, they were making a profit of almost $91 on every Wii sold from day one. It's just an unbelievable business move.
So, did it work? Oh my gosh, did it ever? Let this number sink in for a second. By 2010, 46%, nearly half of the entire population of the United States, had used either a Wii or a Nintendo DS. That's not half of gamers, that's half of everybody. They didn't just find a new market, they created a continent.
Because the Wii wasn't just a product, right? It was a full-on cultural phenomenon. Wii Sports became this killer app that had grandparents and grandkids bowling together in the living room. It even got used in hospitals and nursing homes for physical therapy. They called it Wii Rehabilitation. It basically erased the line between gamer and non-gamer. Suddenly, everyone was a gamer.
Okay, last section here, a legacy of innovation. Because this blue ocean strategy, it wasn't a one-time trick. It became Nintendo's DNA. It's what gave them the strength to fail and then get right back up and do it all over again. And this timeline really tells the story. You have the GameCube failure, then the massive blue ocean success of the Wii. And that success was crucial because it gave them this huge pile of cash. And they needed it because their next console, the Wii U, was a total flop. I mean, nobody understood what it was, and it sold horribly. A stumble like that would have killed most other companies. But for Nintendo, it was just a setback. Because then, they did it again. With the Nintendo Switch, they found another blue ocean. They looked at the market and saw two separate worlds: powerful home consoles stuck to your TV and simple games you play on your phone. And they asked, what if we bridge that gap? The result was the Switch, a hybrid console that created a whole new category that, once again, nobody else could even compete in. Sadly, Satoru Iwata, this gentle revolutionary, passed away in 2015. But his vision is still the absolute core of what Nintendo is. His legacy, really, was this complete change in mindset. He proved that winning isn't about having the most powerful machine. It's about focusing on fun, on creativity, and on bringing people together. And that leaves us with this final, big question. If winning truly means refusing to fight the same old battles, where is the next blue ocean waiting to be discovered? Nintendo's story shows us that sometimes the most innovative thing you can do is not to play the game better than your competitors, but to create a whole new game that only you can win. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.